Good morning, everyone. I'm all dressed up with my jacket and everything. I just came back inside. It's cold and I'm chilled and I don't want to take my jacket off yet. It's warm inside, but you know how you are. You get out there and it's too cold. The park opened today. Now, there's not going to be anybody here for a little while, but I had to open the gate. It opens at 7 a.m. and it gets shut at 10 p.m. Long-term stay people can get the gate code, but short-terms don't get it. In any case, so I'm expecting people to show up today. We got some people going to go set up their sites. Bradford Kitty wants to say hello. Yeah, he ignores you just like he ignores me when you don't. Hello, Kitty. Hello, Kitty. Kitty. There, go look outside. See what you can see. Catch a good kitty. Till you start biting. And of course, I don't know if I'll put a meme up, but there was something like, showed a guy lying in bed thinking about just how much is the cat destroying while he's out there running around. I've got to find, I got him my son gave me it's a round platform. It's got a track for a ball, and there's a little white ball in it, and they can hit it, and the ball will go around in a circle. This morning the ball is missing. I don't know how he got it out of there, but it's gone, and I don't know where he's batted it to, so I'm going to have to go look for it. But that's what the extra noise was that I was listening to last night, is that's a harder ball. It's designed to stay in the track. Okay. In any case, our theme for today is the current evil age. We have suspected the government of greed and graft and all kinds of stuff, especially in the last 4 years. We've seen what they've done. Their attempt at woke and DEI and all the other stuff that they're doing. Trans bathrooms and competition in sports. Everything that you can imagine evil that they could get away with, they tried to cram down our throats. And the American people said that's enough. If you stay in the woodwork and everything, then cockroaches can live. But when you come out in the open, start attacking. So we fought back and we got a new administration. Don't think that it's all going to get better. These people are still inherently evil, and there's still plenty of them out there. I don't know how many lawsuits we're up to right now, but I know one judge has like 30 lawsuits against Trump and what he's trying to do. The Supreme Court's going to have to step in and decide. Now, he has the right as Commander-in-Chief to fire anybody in the executive branch, period. And one of the judges just basically said that. He can fire, he can force inspections, audits, whatever he needs, as long as they're in the executive branch. If they're outside of that, then he may have to get permission. But all the important agencies that we're aware of, whether it's the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, he's not doing away with Medicare, but they do need to be audited. Billions of dollars have gone to people who are dead, overseas, unaccountable. Trump said that there's $4.7 trillion that left our federal government with no tag. You cannot identify where it went. Now, the new law now that's out says you have to put your government tag with it when it goes out, so we know how to track it. They knew that if they didn't include that, they wouldn't be able to track it. And they're getting ready to inspect Fort Knox. We've all know about it. We all know that it's a super secret vault with supposedly the United States gold in it, and gold for other countries as well. And we've got more elsewhere as well. It's starting to get light, kitty. So we're kind of waiting and seeing. There's all kinds of stuff. We're just waiting to see what happens. People making 130, 140,000 a year are multimillionaires after being in office. Impossible. Insider trading, Nancy Pelosi, they're basically convinced that all of her monies come from insider trading. They want to pass a law to stop that. Okay, well, it's nice that you're saying it. Do it. They want to basically audit everybody who's came in as paupers and going out as millionaires. It's pretty much everyone. They're finding out that the Clinton Foundation's taking money questionably. The lady that was here in Georgia created a foundation, and it got $2 billion out of the previous administration. It needs to be, and she's directly involved in that. Conflict of interest is rampant. So the thing is let's see what happens in court now. They need to take everybody to court. Okay, so we know that evil has existed from the beginning. Satan's always been out there, and his followers have always been out there. And he's clever. He's crafty. He's probably very personable, very friendly. You would probably invite him in. Have supper with us. This nice old person or young person or whatever he wants to look like. And I didn't say male or female. He can be anything, anyone. So be careful. But he's been around forever, and he's going to be around until the end. So you need to be careful. Now, I went ahead and grabbed some headlines. It's hard to find news that you can trust. NBC is separating themselves from MSNBC because their ratings are pulling down the main company. They're still going to lie, but they're going to have one lie more than the other, so they don't want them tied together. CNN is basically having trouble. AP has been kicked out of the White House press rooms and that. The media, the mainstream media, is just totally delusional. I don't know if I can actually say that they're lying. If they believe what they're telling you, then it's not a lie. It's not the truth. But it's only a lie if they know it's a lie and are still talking about it. That's truth. Get him, kitty. So I went ahead and I went over to the Christian Broadcasting Network to look up some headlines to see what's going on. The world is not a safe place. Headline, and I'm just reading headlines, I'm not going to read the stories. 70 Christians beheaded in Congo. And it follows up with, why is no one reporting this? Well, like Amar Safarti says a lot of times, no Jews, no news. An evil world is out there. And there's your Christians that were attacked. The Muslim religion has taken over a lot of Africa, and they hate Christians. They hate Jews as much, but Jews know better than to go into these areas. They haven't been welcome for a long time. The only place the Jews have is Israel, and even that they're having trouble. No casualty bus bombs rock cities in central Israel. Another headline. I don't know if you saw this, but large commercial buses were blown up. So the destruction of the buses, they were supposed to have gone off at 8:30 this morning. As I'm recording this now, it'd be the next day when you see this. But somebody mistakenly set 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. instead of a.m., and a couple of them went off last night. Well, they're already returned to the barn at that point, so nobody had any trouble. One of them, they did see a suspicious bag, and they took it back and got it isolated, and it blew up. And then they went in and found other bombs in other buses, all designed to go off at the same time. Evil people, because these were going to be killing old people, young people, civilians, not the government. Evil people. Another headline. Authorities discover Hamas substituted body of Siri Bibas. Their excuse? Well, she's a redhead and you all look alike. They returned 4 bodies. They've been returning live people, but they're required to return everybody, including the bodies, so that the families can have closure. They said that the children, 2 young, one 10 and one 10 years and 10 months, the other ones, I don't know, they were young, were beaten severely. And that's how they died. The other ones, a lot of times they were other 2 bodies. Now, one of them, they don't know who it is yet. But they basically were beaten in such a way that they couldn't determine that they were actually tortured. Evil people. It's out there and it's rampant. Another headline from CBN. More than 1 million people have watched our story about anti-Semitism in the UK British Jews as they prepare to leave the UK, as they face shocking discrimination. Europe is basically fighting the same thing that we've been fighting here. This was a worldwide attempted takeover, and they're not done yet. Now, Europe has had it too, but just like we have here, it's going to take time to weed out the evil, to get rid of it, if it can ever fully be done. We're assuming that Trump and Musk are going to clean up everything in the time that they're in. But what happens if something happens to them? What happens if the bad guys take over again? And one bit of good news, pro-life states ramp up their resources for women facing unplanned pregnancies. Planned Parenthood was a full left group. Their only solution to an unplanned pregnancy was abortion. We've killed millions of babies in this country, the United States. There will be a price to pay for that. And unfortunately, we're all going to have to pay the price because it happened on our watch. So let's look at a couple of verses here. Galatians 1:4, who gave himself for our sins, talking about Jesus and that it might deliver us from this present evil world. So this is it was called the last days when Jesus was here. And it was the last days. Now, we may have been 2,000 years since Jesus was here, but we're still in the last days. That's why I don't use that reference. It's the end of times, or shortened end times for now. Deliver us from this present evil world according to the will of God and our Father. This time is evil, and it is not going to go away. We may be able to get it to go underground for a little bit. For a long time in this country, politicians being politicians came up with the gay ruling, don't ask, don't tell. You can't ask somebody whether they're gay, and you don't have to tell anybody. Just stay in the closet. It's not the way to do things, but that's what our government dealt with for a while, and they got tired of that, and they wanted out. And they did come out. And we see the results of letting gay people out and running around. They want to do anything and everything they can, no matter how perverse it is. There may be some legitimate, quote, couples that are just want to be left alone, but the organization leaders wanted everything. They wanted to basically make heterosexuals an abomination, and whatever they did was okay. There's Kitty again. You give Satan an inch, he's going to take a mile. Get him, Kitty. So we have to stand our ground, and that's the lesson for today. They are going to continue trying. Our government was founded by Christians. Despite what the left will tell you, it was Christians that founded this country. The debate of church and state was a debate. And what we got was the result of the debate. Freedom of religion. Not from religion, of religion. And we've lived a pretty good life of that. Now, freedom gives you range to do things that you shouldn't do. And we have that same freedom from God. We can do things we shouldn't do, but we have freedom to choose. The one thing that we have that's more powerful than God. He gave us the right of choice. Because he knows if you've got your wife chained up downstairs in the basement, she's not a wife, she's a prisoner. I'm sorry for the graphic display there, but some people actually try that. And they get caught eventually. But that's not love. Love is when they're free to go and they choose not to. We have a crazy world out there, and we need to be prepared. And no matter what you see physically going on, it's a spiritual war that's going on. So you have to put your armor on. As a Christian, if you go outside without your armor on, it's like a soldier walking across the demilitarized zone without any armor on. They're going to get shot. They're not supposed to be there. That's why it's there. Or if you have an actual front because you've got a war. Millions of people died in the Ukraine war, according to the news. And it was a war that didn't need to happen. I don't know how many people are aware, but what's the guy's name that's the leader of Ukraine? He was a stand-up comedian before he ran for office. That's how bad they were before, that they'd vote for a stand-up comedian. Crazy. Well, I mean, we've had actors in our government, but not a stand-up comedian. Anyhow, that hopefully is going to end soon. Putin is willing to talk about it. They want it to end too. It's costing them money, and it's a nuisance to have to deal with if they can just end it. Of course, the leader of Ukraine is saying that they didn't get half the money we sent them. They probably didn't get 10% of the money we sent them. And the military that we sent them was some of our best military equipment. That was our government of the past, getting rid of our ability to fight so that maybe somebody would destroy us. That's treason. I hope they go after all these people. They're talking about firing a bunch of generals that are woke. Because they put generals up. They put high-ranking military people in there that were leftist. You're not supposed to have a political agenda. You're supposed to follow the commander-in-chief, no matter who he is. So we have a new commander-in-chief. They should immediately switch and follow him, but they're not. They're all left. That's the way the left thinks. It's the way the Muslims, the radical Muslims, are thinking. You're either for us or we kill you. The left is kind of like that. You're either for us or we abandon you. You starve to death and we don't care. We don't have an egg shortage and a food shortage because of diseases. We have it because the government wants us to eat bugs. Bill Gates said so. And he owns thousands of acres of land in this country. I hope they go after him. I've never been 100% fan of Microsoft other than the fact that it got us into the computer age. But he wasn't the engineer. Paul was. He was the marketing guy. He's the one that made the deal with IBM to sell them an operating system and then own it after IBM was done with it in a couple of years. He was marketing. And he believed some crazy things as to all these billionaires that are out there. The only one that I trust up to a degree is Musk, but somewhere the Antichrist is coming. We don't know who. And you can't look at these billionaires and say, well, it's got to be one of them. We don't really know for sure. Can we say that they have a Roman heritage? Well, it's been so many generations since the Roman Empire. I could have Roman heritage. I know I've got Scottish heritage. Where did they come from? Okay. I know you want to... See, he's wanting to run around. Okay, go run around. Oh, no biting. No biting. You can bite my shoes all you want. Yeah, you can't hurt me with my shoes. And I got new shoes. These were $19 shoes on Amazon. And they fit well. Shoes are the only thing I can buy that I don't have to try on. You know, if I was buying dress shoes, I think I'd try them on, but for tennis shoes, they're usually pretty good. As long as they got some kind of arch support in them, you never want to wear fully flat shoes. People that walk around bare feet end up with no arch. It's not good for you. All right. Luke 21:34. Did I get to this one? And take heed to yourself, lest any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting, being tossed around, and drunkenness. We already just read this, but it's part of what I'm reading today. And cares of this life, so that that day will come upon you unaware. Talking about his second coming, not the rapture. There's unfortunately nothing about the rapture other than we have to be out of here before the man of sin is revealed. So he hasn't been revealed yet. He's out there, but he hasn't been revealed. For as a snare shall it come upon all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And in that day, and in the day time he has, and in the day time he was, I don't like backwards wording like this. Bad translation. And in the day time, in the daytime. Why is that two separate words? It should be together. And in the daytime he was teaching in the temple. And at night he went out and abode at the mount that is called the Mount of Olives. He loved the Mount of Olives. Loved being in trees. I can appreciate that. And all the people came early in the morning to him in the temple for to hear him. So Jesus was teaching. And he warned about these times. Read Matthew 24. You should already know, all my regulars, you already know all these verses. But if you're new, look them up. Jesus isn't talking about the rapture. Only Paul talks about the rapture. Jesus always talks about the second coming because he's talking to Jews. Jews are not going to make the rapture unless they're Christians. So just say Christians. whatever your previous religious affiliation was, if you become a Christian, all that's behind you now. You're a Christian going forward. And Christians will be raptured. And then afterwards, those that were sitting on the fence will realize their mistake and become Christians. And God will teach the Jews about being a Christian. They will have to accept that Jesus, their Messiah that they've been looking for, Yeshua, has already come and gone. And if their evil religious leaders of the time weren't evil, the current Jews wouldn't be taught to hate Jesus. But the people that wrote the current rules, the post-temple rules, some of them were ones that voted to have Jesus killed. And to cover their obvious evilness, they put in the new rules: hate Jesus and anybody that has anything to do with him. When I became a Christian, I was asked to leave the synagogue that I was studying Hebrew in. Evil. There was a limited time, but protect yourself. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless. The sun is risen. The Son of God is just as reliable.